This is a trial and error video. I'm just hoping I can do it well enough that you can appreciate the subject matter. It's a video I have put off for months because I wanted it to be just right, and I'm not sure it will be. So use your imagination and follow through with me. What you see behind me is the subject, the old master prints. You've seen many of them. You may be like me and prefer the old master prints to modern day artwork. I'm going to go back about 30 years. This is when I learned how to do this artwork, if you want to call it artwork. True artists wouldn't exactly say that, but it works for me. And as long as it works for me, I'm happy with what you might call my copycat old master prints. I knew a lady in Tennessee. She's very talented with arts and crafts, and she did her own framing for pictures that she painted. And I had seen many of them and admired her work very much. She went to a lot of craft festivals and sold her work. I also noticed that she did prints, her own prints, and doctored them up, and they looked like old masters. Golly, that was right up my alley. That's what I was looking for. There was a nearby glass shop, I guess you call it a glass shop, where they cut glass and for windows and things. And they also sold picture frames. I would go in and buy a frame now and then, and of course I like the frames you see behind me, the ornate frames, wide gold trim. Those were my favorites, and they carried a good selection of them. They also had catalogs where you could order prints, and every now and then I would borrow one of their catalogs, take it home and thumb through until I found just exactly what I thought would work for my trial and error artwork. Since I am not an artist, can't draw a straight line even with a ruler, I still wanted the beautiful artwork like you see on my walls. Now, I did several of these, and I sold a few of them. And what I would do, I would find the print in a catalog that I liked. That was the one I wanted. I'd get the measurements on it. Then I would go back to the glass shop, and I would check out their frames, ready-made frames, because the ready-made frames were much cheaper than the ones you had them make for your pictures. You probably know that already. So I could save a lot of money by buying the ready-made frames. So I would check to see what sizes they had. And the two you see behind me of the little girl and the dog were ready-made frames. So I looked through the catalog, found the size of the prints that I could order. I wanted the one that would fit perfectly. And if they didn't fit perfectly and were a little too large for the frames, I could always trim off the edges as long as it didn't affect the main part of my picture. Now let's see, to go from here, I ordered the pictures. All three of these pictures you see were ordered from a catalog. The one at the top on the right is a young sleeping knitter. She has her knitting needles in her hands in her lap, and she has fallen asleep. I really liked that print, so I ordered her. The second, now this was at different times. The second one was the English Spaniel. Everybody loved the English Spaniel. You see those in homes, in Victorian homes. You'll always find a little statues and pictures of an English Spaniel. That's what this is. The third print is, I don't know if it has an exact name, but it's the watermelon and the Baltimore Oreo. You see the cut watermelon, you see the Baltimore Oreo above it, and beside that is a window where you can see a river and a stream, the river and the scene behind it through a window. You've got your fruits and your big watermelon. I really liked that print. So I had the frame made for that. It's a little more rustic, but it was perfect. It's my favorite print. And I've had all three of these over 30 years now. I sold several similar to these, not just like them, but I had friends and neighbors who liked these, and I would get them framed, and they bought them from me. I didn't make a lot of money off of it, but I was doing it as something to occupy my time, and because I liked what I was doing. So I wanted to show them to you as up close as I can. This is not going to work too well because I don't have really good lighting on the pictures, but I'm going to show you how I did this. First, I ordered the print. It came in. I took it to the glass company, and I said, now I want this put on hardboard. You might say a fiber board, which was about 1/4 of an inch to a 1/2 inch thick. And they would glue the print to that board. That gave me my canvas to work with. The next thing I did, and I'm going to get up from my chair so I can show you what I worked with. I think I have to get things out of my little pot here where I slid them down in there and I wouldn't lose them. Now what I'm going to show you is this. This is start to finish. Got to put my flashlight aside for the moment. I took my print, glued to the hardboard, and the first thing I did was I bought a clear spray to protect the print. Sprayed it about 3 times to make sure it had good coverage, because I was going to be working on this print and I didn't want any of the finish on the print to rub off. So I used a clear glaze spray and let it dry. Once it was good and dry, I was ready to start painting. I had all my art brushes, so I need the small art brush. Now, right now I'm just telling you the products I was using. The next thing I used was this Hopper Hot Gel. It's an acrylic transparentizer, Grumbacher. I've had this same tube. Of course, it's no good, but I keep it for reference because I forget things. And if I ever wanted to do this again, I wanted to know what to buy. So this is what I used, if you can read that. And it was my paint. Clear paint. I mean, you can see through it. So that's what I used with my paintbrush. And I started painting. Let's take this one, friend, the one with the watermelon. I'm going to use my flashlight because I want you to see how I painted it. Using the natural brush strokes that any artist would use to cover my canvas as if it was a color of paint, only it was clear. Now I want to get closer if I can. I don't know if I move my camera, I may mess up my picture. So I'm going to try to show you a little bit of what I did. I'm using this flashlight so I might be able to pick up. Take a look at the watermelon. You see the watermelon seeds? Now and then they kind of glisten a little bit. Now there, for instance, see those watermelon seeds? They stand out. You can feel them. You can feel them. Look above at the fruit. I outlined all of that fruit with my clear glaze. And on up to the Baltimore Oreo. Can you see the shiny line around the bottom of that Oreo? That's where I painted it. Give it a little more effect of being oil painting. Over here, you can see the shiny lines of the stems of the flowers, the edges of the flower. See how they shine? That's because I added more gel so that you could see those stems. Make them look like they stand out. But the thing I like best is really the watermelon and those vivid watermelon seeds. Let's move on over a little bit. Here's another flower. I put emphasis on the edge of the petals so that they shine when you get in bright light. On down the picture frame, I think that's a peach. It has been painted with the clear gel, and it has been used with the brush strokes of my small artist brush. Now take a look at the grapes. Can you see how they shine? Can you see how I outlined every grape to make it show up? I don't know what kind of fruit that is, but it looked about the same coloring as the peach. But you can see around the edges where there are lines, I have emphasized. Let's go on over to more grapes. Look at the purple grapes. And that's the pineapple. Everything has been edged with clear glaze. And I want you to see how pretty this window with the river, see the castle. I can't help it, but this is one of my favorite pictures. And I want you to be able to see it well. I know I'm too far away from the camera, but hopefully you can zoom in. You can see the brush strokes on the watermelon where I used the clear gel. Now I'm going to take you over to the dog. I'm going to go around to the other side of my chair so I can get closer. This is an English Spaniel. If you can get a good look at the tail, you can see the brush strokes all through the hair of the English Spaniel. His eyes even show up more. You see all down the lines of the legs of the Spaniel. Get as close as I can. See the edge of the hair hanging down from his body. That gives the effect of a hand-painted, oil-painted picture. Now, the next one, I did 2 or 3 similar to this one. I'm using my lamp that I had to take the lampshade off so I could get closer and hopefully you could see. Now look at this little girl. She's a sleeping knitter. You can go on the internet and find all 3 of these prints under Old Masters. Look how precious she is. See her pretty face? Down here she's got 4 knitting needles in her hands and she has fallen asleep. The lines of her clothes have been emphasized with my paintbrush. I want you to get a good look at her, how pretty she is. Now, once I finished painting with my artist paintbrush, I wasn't finished because in a print, you don't get that old, 100-year-old, old master oil painting look. It looks too new. What was I going to do to keep the white from being so white and to keep the dog's hair from looking like I had just painted it myself? I wanted it to have the antique look. Well, I let the clear gel dry for a couple of days. And then I got out my oil-based paint. In this case, I think I was using the oil-based stain called Special Walnut. And I took a soft cloth, one about like this. Well, you're not seeing it, are you? I'll get back over here where you can see it. I'll sit back down. Right here is just a plain old rag. That's all it is. Just an old rag. It's a soft rag. So I dipped this rag in my Special Walnut oil stain and I rubbed a little bit of it off. And then I started rubbing, well, let's see. I need something as an example, and I don't have it. Okay, you can use your imagination. I took the oil stain and I started rubbing. I'm rubbing around the edge of the dog now. And I kept wiping off excess stain. I didn't want it to be too dark. I just wanted to give a little dullness to the lighter white colors. And that's what I did on all 3 pictures. I just went over the whole thing over and over and over. And if I'd taken off too much, I'd add a little more oil and I'd keep rubbing, rub it down. I wanted it to have the look of a 100-year-old painting. And basically, that's what I got. You can see how the little girl looks. Her face is not that really smooth, clean look. It has the look of an old canvas. The dog and the little girl both have the look of it being an old canvas. Now the nice thing about this was I'd already measured the print for the frame, bought the frames. They were ready, and I took it back to the framing shop and they put it together for me. What's nice about this is there's no glass over the prints. I didn't have to use glass to protect it, because you know you've got to worry about dust in the house and cleaning the print. You don't want to be rubbing the print itself. But with all the protection I gave it from the glaze and the gel and the oil stain, it was like an oil painting, and I didn't have to put glass over it. I can walk up to it, I can clean it with a nice soft rag, and it doesn't affect the finish of my print. As you see, the fire trucks and the sirens go by pretty often, so I just let them get on by so we can finish our video. Some of you have been interested in my artwork and wanted to know how I did it, where I bought them, that sort of thing. You can go to any framing shop and you can order these prints from them. I just happened to borrow the catalogs and ordered them myself. You can also go on the internet and find the prints that appeal to you. Now, I wanted print that I could easily give the brushstroke look to everything. So these are the three I was left with after I sold about a dozen and I quit making them. But it's a craft that anyone can do. And if you like artwork hanging on your walls, this you can do yourself. You don't have to buy and pay a lot of money for framed prints. Order the print, get it glued to hardboard, and do just what I told you to do. Just follow the instructions I gave you. I had to learn how to do it myself. I didn't have anything to go by. I guessed at it. And I went to Michael's and I bought the artist brushes and the oils and things that I thought I would need. And I've always been pleased with these. They go on my wall even if the family portraits don't make it, because I've got the old masters myself at minimum cost. They look as good as if it was the original. Well, to me they do. So I'm perfectly satisfied with them, and I tend to go with the ornate frames. I just feel like the old master prints require the ornate frame, except for the watermelon. And I gave it the rustic look. It's very outstanding. Now I've got another one. I don't know if I can get the camera moved over. I want you to see it. It was one that I gave it to my mother and forgot all about it. When my sister renovated my mother's house, she brought this print out, and she said, Mama had this behind the headboard of her bed. Now I'm carrying my camera over, and you're going to see all my clutter. But hopefully I can set this up to where you can also see. Whoops. Hang in there with me. You see this print? Let's see if I can get it back. Okay, let's go back a little more. Now you can see how big that print is. My sister said, I said, where'd you get it? She said, it was behind Mama's bed. I said, can I have it? And she said, no, I want it. Now it wasn't in a frame. It had been finished, but had yet to own a frame. And I said, let me look at it. And I took hold of it, this huge picture, and I said, this is one of the pictures I redid back when I was working with old masters. You've got to let me have it. So she did. And I took it to Michael's and got it framed. Now, I'm not going to tell you how much I paid for the frame because I think I could have bought an old master for what it cost. So it doesn't have glass over it, but that's a print that I had done 30-some years ago. Now, let me see if I can hold this. So I want you to be able to get the brush strokes if possible. I don't think it's happening, but I still want you to see how pretty this is. It's a large, I think it's about 2.5 by 3 feet, and I wouldn't take anything for it. To me, it is my old master. So take a good look at it. And with the lighting just right, let me see if this lamp is on. I don't think it is. I was hoping I could get it on so you could see, but I'm not getting. Hold on. Just stay right there. Well, not plugged in. I thought maybe I could get you a better look at the brush strokes. You might even be able to do that if you zoom your camera or your picture so that you get a closer look at the picture frame. But I did want you to see this one. So I'm going to go back, carry my camera across the room. You can watch me. Yeah, look, I'm so pretty. Oh, look, get to see my red glasses. Now, I'll get us back in place. I'm not a professional. Never hope to be. But you're going to get to look at me. Something's not right because my coloring's not good. Yep, it's not working, folks. I've messed it up. So you got the picture the way I wanted it. Somehow or other, if I play with it, I'll mess it up. So I'm going to let you go. And I'll fade out of the picture, and you can tell me what you think of my old master artwork. It's something you can do. It's something it's fun to do. And when you're finished and you get the right frame for it, you're going to be very proud of yourself. So, it's time to go.